The presentation provides an in-depth, practical approach to identify and report CVEs and zero-day vulnerabilities, which is a topic growing importance in today's cybersecurity landscape, with the increasing reliance on an open source software. This talk actually aims to equip security researchers, penetration testers, and developers with effective methodologies to uncover these vulnerabilities responsibility. Very cool. Penetration tester and cybersecurity expert, Ahmed Hassan, he is getting mic'd up, but give him a big round of applause because he can hear it. Come on, you guys, give him a big round of applause.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Thank you for coming. Thank you for attending my session. As mentioned before, my name is Ahmed Hassan. I am discussing today how to identify vulnerabilities and open source applications called zero-day vulnerabilities. And let's start with the presentation. So my name is Ahmed Hassan. I am originally coming from Austria and working since almost 7 years in the cybersecurity field as a penetration tester and cybersecurity engineer. And we will dive in this important topic today to see and know how we can identify CVEs in zero-day vulnerabilities in open source applications. For that, the quick agenda, we will go through every step to be able to identify and report a vulnerability, starting from identifying the open source application, how we can install it locally on our device, how to identify the vulnerability we want to report, and after that coming to the documentation step and also the reporting step in a third-party application for finally trying to get the CVE we want to achieve. Yes, that's a quick CVE. I had the honor to be a speaker in different worldwide conferences in the US, in Saudi Arabia, in Black Hat, in Egypt, also giving webinars for students, helping them to start their career in the cybersecurity field. And here I am having this honor to be a presenter in GISEC. Exactly, it was a quick animation coming from Austria. But let's dive into the part and also a quick explanation about the qualifications and certifications without going step by step through them. These are some of the certifications I managed to get to be able to start as a penetration tester and work in this field. Amazing. So let's come to the point. Here I have listed this CVEs, which has been identified by me as an intention to give you the availability and also the motivation to know that's easy. You can identify CVEs easily. You have all the applications, you have all the requirements, and by that we have a specific screenshot here where we identified a vulnerability in Cisco. And Cisco is a well-known company, and this also means one thing, that no company is secure 100%. You can still identify vulnerabilities in any of these worldwide companies, giving you a huge point in your CV and to get a well-known CV in your CV or your plat. Okay, this is just a screenshot and a picture about the security and the standards we face a lot in almost every client when we go do a penetration test. That simply means security isn't there anymore, or at least very, very weak, even in well-known companies. And this, where we start our work, we can identify vulnerabilities and easily get the CVE assigned. Okay, coming to the first thing we need to understand. What is a CVE? Okay, a CVE is standing for Common Vulnerabilities and Exposures. And this simply means when we identify a vulnerability in a product and get a number for that, which we will describe later, we have a vulnerability or a CVE. Before we report it, it's called a zero-day vulnerability. Why at 0 day? Because nobody knows or know the vulnerability yet before we report it. So in the earlier 90s, we got the Mitra Corporation, and they were responsible for creating a book or something where we can document the CVEs. So nobody is able to report a vulnerability twice, for example. So we have a book like Ahmad reported this vulnerability on this date with this number. And we can still go through them. So every company can go through all the book and all the lists. So nobody can register a vulnerability twice or, for example, with another name, and we don't have a lot of the same vulnerabilities inside the Mitra Corporation. Therefore, we got this CVE, and by that we can see here 3 points, 3 things. We have, first of all, the prefix, which is the CVE. It's always there. After that, we have the year, like, for example, 2025, 2023. And at the end, we have the most important part, which is the unique number. This unique number is standing for the vulnerability. It will not change, and you will not find another vulnerability with the same number, giving us the possibility to identify the reported vulnerability and the CVE with one number, this unique number. Therefore, it's for everybody possible to identify a vulnerability, report it, and search for it, because we will not find another vulnerability with the same unique number. Okay, to go through the process of choosing a working open source application to identify a vulnerability in it, I just created a simple screenshot, as well as giving you a GitHub repository, which will be published on my GitHub as well, for searching the open source applications. And for that, we must simply be able to identify an open source application, first of all, which we will see. After that, installing it locally to identify vulnerabilities. And when we are able or successfully able to identify a vulnerability, we need, first of all, to contact the vendor. In my case, for example, I just contacted Cisco, asking them for a CVE, because Cisco had something called, or was the CNA, standing for CVE Numbering Authority. The CVE Numbering Authority is a company which is allowed to give you a CVE for the reported vulnerability. In my case, Cisco was a valid CVE, CNA. And for that, they just assigned me the CVE, but we assume that we do not have a valid CNA, or a company which is allowed to give us a CVE. For that, we just go to a third-party vendor, which we will see in the next slides, for assigning us a valid CVE. So when we go to the next slide, this is just simple way to show you how we can go through from A to Z, from identifying to reporting and getting a valid CVE. It starts simply with the discover process. We find a valid application, we install it locally and start to try to find a vulnerability. After that, we report it with all the needed information, if it's technically or on the managerial level. After that, you will go internally through a process requesting the CVE, which is made by the third-party vendor, which we will see again in our slides later. They will do the part 4 and 5, which will be reserving the unique number we have seen before, and after that also requesting the CVE number. And at the end, we have the publish process, where you got successfully your CVE and you can publish it online. Please make sure that you do not publish any information, if it's technical or managerial, before you get the approval and the CVE number. Otherwise, you may get problems, legal problems, because you do not have the permission for that to publish any technical information. Okay, here we go. we have this wonderful website. This website is simply giving us the possibility to download open source applications for testing, legally, penetration testing, vulnerability identification. It's called Source Codester. Here we have an amazing output for web applications, desktop applications, always in various programming languages, PHP, C, C#, everything you want is already published on this website. And therefore, we will also have a further look, which is really mentioned clearly how you can install and start working with this open source application. As you can see here, you can see first of all the local application you may be using. It's XAMPP or VAMP, for example. After that, you are going through the whole process, what applications you need, what extensions, where you have to open the folder and see the installed applications, etc. So starting from A to Z, how you can install the whole application in order to be able to work on it locally and test it. At the end of the screenshot, you can see also the default admin access, which is giving you the possibility to log into the application which has been installed in order to be able to test it. Okay, this is a simple video showing you how we are using that. And when we hover on projects, as you have seen, we have chosen the PHP projects. And when we come down below, you can see an amazing stuff of PHP projects like management system using PHP or, for example, hospital systems, etc. So you have an amazing part where you can choose applications to test. And after that, when we open it, you can see here we have technical information, the programming languages used, the extensions, the add-ons we will be installing. Beside that, you have some of the screenshots showing you the end result after you install the application. And here we can see the download process and the needed information which we have seen before in order to set up this locally. At the end, you can see here, we can download the source code and set it up locally on our device. Okay, let's assume we have identified a valid vulnerability. In my case, as I have mentioned Cisco before, I'm just showing the vulnerability I have identified. It's simply, without really going in depth and talk about the vulnerability, something called cross-site scripting vulnerability, allowing us to simply hijack the administrator account, for example, and get his cookies and log in as an administrator. But without really going and talking about the vulnerability in depth, let's assume we have found a vulnerability in an open source application. What shall we do now? So what we need to report this vulnerability and get a valid CVE. Here we come to the next amazing website called ValDB. ValDB is the third-party vendor we have mentioned before. It's a valid CNA, CVE numbering authority, allowing us to ask them for a CVE, and they are officially allowed to give us a valid CVE. By that, you will be asked to register an account on the application in order to be able to submit a vulnerability. And when we go to the next slide, you can see simply when we hover on entries, you can see an add button. This add button is giving us the possibility to submit the needed information, including, as you can see here, the name of the company, the version, the detailed information, including technical and non-technical, in order to give the other team the possibility to recheck and check if it's a valid vulnerability or not. Don't worry, we will see this in another slide as a video again to just make sure it's simply for you to understand. So after we submit the vulnerability, we will get hopefully, 2 emails. The first one will be an acknowledgement that they have received the vulnerability and they are checking if it's valid or not. Normally, it should take from 5 to 7 days. Otherwise, you can kindly ask them for a recheck or send them an email. And on the right side from you, you can see the like congratulation email that you got a valid CVE with the CVE number, with the link, with all the things you can do. You can publish it, you can publish a screenshot. Everything is now legal, and you got your first CVE. Okay, this is a simple screenshot from a real life engagement. We were working on a client without mentioning the name of the client, and we have found a vulnerability. And first of all, we asked the client if they are allowed to assign us a CVE or not. And they told us we are not a valid CNA, CVE numbering authority. Therefore, we asked them for a permission to ask a third-party vendor, which was, in our case, ValDB. And after that, we truly submitted this vulnerability, and we got a valid CVE from that. It's simply that we were able to bypass a firewall and run JavaScript code, allowing us to take over an administrator, for example, who is logged into the web application. By that, you can see also the information when the vulnerability has been submitted, if it's accepted or not, and you are also getting some points, as you can see here. 20 points, it's like HackerOne or Backcrowd, if you heard about that, like bug bounty applications giving you the possibility to get high rankings if you submit more vulnerabilities. Okay, this is the video I have mentioned before. We are here logged into the ValDB application, and by that you can see the name of my user. When we hover to the add entry, which is the last one, you can see we can submit all the needed information, like the vendor, the application, the version of it, and last but not least, the summary or the description, including technical and non-technical information. One important point to be mentioned, you need to click on this button at the end, which is highlighted here, because by that you are simply requesting ValDB to assign you a CVE. Otherwise, you will get a normal confirmation, but without any CVE number. It will be marked as a normal vulnerability and it will be patched. So please make sure you mark this one. And as you can see here, this is a simple list with all the vulnerabilities which has been identified, if it's critical, medium, informative, or even not accepted. And by that here, you can see the source. Exactly, we confirmed that we requested a CVE, and also the link, which is the proof of concept link, a video or a screenshot with the exploitation of the vulnerability, so the team is able to recheck and confirm this is a valid vulnerability. This is a simple exploit to the vulnerability we have identified in the client's environment, allowing us to exploit cross-site scripting vulnerability by or through bypassing the firewall. And we will see that right now. First of all, we will run a basic JavaScript code which will be directly blocked by the firewall. But after that, when we change the code in another way, as you can see here, it's blocked in red. And after that, we will simply change or adapt the code in another way, and it will be directly accepted as a JavaScript code and run. This will be seen right now in a second. Let's save the input. And as you will see now, it will show you the JavaScript code popping on the screen, as you can see here, simply showing us or giving us the indication that JavaScript code is able to run after bypassing the firewall restrictions. This is just a simple exploitation. As showed at the beginning, this is exactly the same situation we had in the client's environment and meeting, because they had all the restrictions, all EDRs, firewalls, all kind of detection systems, but even though we were able to identify a vulnerability, that is also a motivation for you that you are able to identify vulnerabilities, even you have big defense systems in the client's environment. By that, allow me to thank you again for attending my session. I hope it was informative. I hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to add me on LinkedIn. I am always happy to help you and connect with you. I hope you enjoyed it and wish you a wonderful evening. Thank you.
All right, give him a big round of applause, Ahmed Hassan.